Hello everyone and welcome you for the class. So today we are going to start the topic friction. So all of you know what is a friction. Friction means what? Friction means anything, the force that will oppose the motion. Yes, means if an object is moving, what happen if I talk about a smooth surface, slippery surface, polished surface, then what will happen? The body will be moving freely. But if I talk about a rough surface, then what happen? If this one I can consider it to be a smooth surface, but compared to it, if I talk about the walls are a little bit rough or not? Yes. So on the rough surface, if I allow an object to move, then what happen? I need more force. Means because I can say that if I am applying a force in this direction, opposite direction, something is giving a force. Yes. But if it is a slippery surface, then what happen? It moves automatically, or then means I don't need so much force to move the object. So in that case, what happened? The friction is, yes, I can say the friction means the opposition force, the force that will resist the motion in the forward direction. Talking about friction, I can say that friction are basically limiting friction, not limiting friction, I will say static friction, limiting friction and kinetic friction. Okay, first of all, if I say friction mainly I can say it will be static friction, means what? Suppose I say this is a horizontal surface and on this surface we have a body, this one. What are the forces acting on the body? Suppose I say we are applying a force capital F. This capital F, if I write, that is the applied force. So I can write here as an applied force. Done? And I already said that the friction will oppose the motion. Oppose the motion means what? It will not allow the body to move in the forward direction. So friction must be in the opposite direction. So friction is in this direction. Now you might ask me, ma'am, why I have given underline, not here any line? Because friction acts along on the surface joining the two. Means this is the upper surface, this is the body, and it is in contact with the lower surface. So between this, the friction force will act. So I will denote the friction by small f. Remember, if I am writing small f, you should understand that I am talking about friction. And if I am writing capital F, it will be the applied force. But in some books, you will find that this is written as P, this is written as F. It's up to you now to decide what you will write. And on the same body, we will have weight acting downward. Because of the weight to balance, there will be a normal reaction. Done? If it is a static friction, that means the object is not going to move. Means this block, no doubt I am applying a force, the body will not move towards the right hand side. As a result, the friction that will appear or that will be there, that is the static friction. So I have to write Fs. So in this case, what I can say that applied force is equal to the frictional force, that is the force of static friction. That is a static case, the object is not moving. Now comes the next part, that is the limiting friction. Limiting friction. In limiting friction, actually, this is the same diagram I will draw, but I will say here limiting means what? The limit, suppose I have a big box here, I am pushing the box, but it is not moving. Initially I am applying 5 Newton, not moving, 8 Newton, not moving, 9 Newton, not moving, but when I apply 10 Newton, what happened? I observed that the body is slightly begin to move. It will try to move. So that friction means what happened? If I am applying 5 Newton here, the body is not moving, means the frictional force is also 5 Newton. If I am applying 8 Newton, here also coming 8 Newton, the body is not moving. Now I apply 10 Newton, the body is still not moving. I say that the frictional force is also 9. But now if I apply 10 Newton, I observe that the body is supposed, or it starts, not starts, it begins to move. It is not moving, but there is a position that it will try to move. That particular friction is known as limiting friction. What is that? That is the limit beyond which the body will move, below which the body is not going to move. So in that case, I can write here, suppose I write it as Fl, what will happen? F will be greater than greater than 1. I'm not writing very much greater than 1. So that's why I have written slightly greater than. Okay, that is limiting case. And now, beyond that, what will happen? If I applied more, suppose I have given, I say that at 10, the body starts moving. So now if I apply 11 Newton or 12 Newton, 14 Newton, what will happen? Do I have to apply more force now? No, I don't have to apply force more. Once the body starts moving, I will feel, you can take the example at home also. If you take a big body, try to move it, you'll find that once the body starts moving, the applied force, I don't have to increase the force now. It will continue to move easily. Means the frictional force gets reduced compared to the limiting case. So lastly, as the body is moving, I will get the term kinetic friction. Okay, so in kinetic friction, what will happen? The object will move. Means the force which will allow the body to move, the resistance force will be less. We don't have to do extra work, then the body moves, and it is the kinetic friction. Now, so now if I say that I am going to plot a graph, then I will plot a graph for variation of force of friction, means variation of force of friction and applied force. So I am going to plot a graph for, if I vary the applied force, what will happen to the frictional force? Let's plot a graph now. So along x-axis, I will be plotting the applied force, and along y-axis, I will be plotting the force of friction. Done. See, what happened when I talked about the static case? In order to draw the graph, it is very easy, whatever I gave the example. Means, as we are applying a force, the body will not start to move initially. If it is a small body, obviously it will move. Because compared to the body, if I am larger, obviously it will move. But compared to me, if I talk about I am taking a nearly 50 kg or 25 to 30 kg, it becomes very difficult for me to slide the balls. Yes. So what happened when I apply the force? I observe that my frictional force is also same. Can I say that the frictional force and the applied force are proportional to each other? Yes. So if the object has static friction, means if I talk about the object is not moving, I am applying the force. Sorry. I am applying the force, and as a result, the force of friction is also increasing. So it is a linear graph. Means this part is what? Static friction. What is this? This is static friction. Means I reached a certain point at which what will happen? The body will start or begin to move. So this is my what? Limiting friction. I already said to you that after the limiting friction is crossed, the frictional force gets reduced. So the frictional force will get reduced by a small amount. I am not talking about it will be neglected or something like that. It will be reduced, but compared to initial, the value will be a little bit less. And after that, the body simply, I don't have to apply more, means friction will not be applicable there. As a result, what will happen? It will go in straight line. So this part, if I talk about, this part is my kinetic friction. Hope it is clear to you. Means if I have a big box, I applied a force, the body is not moving, then the frictional force is proportional to the applied force. After a certain force is applied, what happens? It crosses the limit, so limiting friction will come. Beyond that, what will happen? The body will continue to move. So that is what? That is the kinetic friction. So you have understood, hope you have understood the concept. Now we have to learn some laws of friction. So what we have to learn? We have to learn some laws of friction. I would like to tell you something here, laws of friction. In laws of friction, we have two means friction. Basically, we are not concerned about limiting case here. We'll be dealing with static friction and kinetic friction. So there are two things, laws of static friction and laws of kinetic friction. Some things are there like, if I talk about static friction, the applied force will be equal to the force of friction, static friction in case of laws of friction, the static friction. So 4 laws are there, that one you study. But the main laws, I will write law of static friction, the basic one. If in exam it comes, you have to write this one only. What is the law of static friction? According to this law, what will happen? The force of friction, I'm talking about static, so I will write S, will be directly proportional to the normal reaction according to the. What does the static friction tells us? Laws tells us. Certain other laws are also there. The main law is that the force of static friction is directly proportional to the normal reaction. That is the thing. So now, if I remove the proportionality sign, I will write it down mu s r. This mu s is known as coefficient of static friction. What is this? This is coefficient of static friction. So for a particular material, medium, suppose I say this one, the upper part is a wood and this one is a floor of different type. Suppose the floor that is in your, I can talk about the floor and the wall. There is a difference between these two or not? Yes. So if I am allowing the wood to move on the floor as well as on the wall, so I will get a friction, coefficient of friction different. Value will be different. So depending upon that, the value changes. Similarly, if I talk about laws of kinetic friction, there are also 2 or 3 laws are there. Along with that, another important law is this one. Same case will come here. That is, the force of kinetic friction is directly proportional to the normal reaction. Or I can write here Fk is equals to mu k will be there here. And here mu k is known as coefficient of kinetic friction. So these are the 2 terms that are important. These are the 2 laws that are important for your exam. Okay? To the next topic, that is the angle of friction and angle of repose. So my first topic is here is angle of friction. Okay. So angle of friction, already we came to know about what is friction. We know about the laws of friction. Then we came to know about the coefficient of static friction and coefficient of what? The kinetic friction. Now comes the next topic, that is the angle of friction. Done? So before I move to the angle of friction, I would like to ask you one thing. So if I ask you what is a unit or what is the dimension of coefficient of friction, static friction. When I have written f of k, it is equals to mu k into r. So what will be my mu k? Mu k will be Fk divided by r. Done? So now my question is, what is the unit of mu k? Coefficient of static kinetic friction. So when I write this is force of friction, this is r. R is what? Normal reaction. Normal reaction is nothing but it is the weight. Weight means the force. So this is also force, this is also force. So it is a unit less quantity. What is this? Unit less quantity. If I ask you, give an example of unit less and dimension less quantity, you can give the example of coefficient of static friction or coefficient of kinetic friction. If you want to write static kinetic, you can write, or else to directly write coefficient of friction, that is also correct. Okay, now let's move to the topic angle of friction. So this is a floor, and on the floor we have body. This one. We are applying a force F in this direction. This is my applied force. And the weight of the body is acting downward. As a result, the normal reaction is upward. What is the direction of friction? The direction of friction is in this direction, so I am writing F. Now, if you want to write, think of it as a static case also, kinetic case also. So I'm not writing FK or FS, generally writing MS. Done. Now, this force of friction and the normal reaction both are acting perpendicular to each other. Can I find the resultant of these two forces? Because these are vectors. So the resultant will be what? The resultant will be like this. Am I correct? This is the resultant. Yes? So if this is the resultant means of which R and F. I can write this as R dash. Yes? Now the angle of friction means the angle made by the resultant. Resultant of which two quantities? Resultant of normal reaction and the force of friction with the normal reaction. This is the normal reaction, so this is my theta. This theta is known as angle of friction. Remember the complete sentence. It is angle made by resultant of force of friction and normal reaction. I'm talking about the resultant of these two with this resultant is making angle with whom? With the normal reaction. So this is what? This is the angle of friction definition. Hope it is clear now. Angle of friction. So if I come to know about angle of friction, it is theta. Can I calculate theta from here? If I write tan theta, what will be it from the figure? What I have to do? If I have to calculate theta here, tan theta, I have to draw, complete the parallelogram. Done. This is my O, let us write this as A, this is my B, this is my C. So if I want to calculate, then tan theta will be perpendicular. Perpendicular means AB. Base means OA. If I talk about AB, this is parallel. So this one and this one are same. So I can write F. Divided by what? R will be. Done? So now what is F? F is nothing but it is mu into R. So let us consider it as Fs. It will be easier for you. Or if you want to write Fk, better write Fk down. Fk. So it will be Fk. So this will be mu k by R. So R will cancel out. So it will be my mu. So what is tan theta? Tan theta is nothing but it is equal to coefficient of kinetic friction. Done. So this is my angle of friction. Next comes the angle of repose. You might have heard the word repose. Repose is a vector here, no? Yes. Yet it's not a vector. Angle of repose means that one is a horizontal plane. Now think of an inclined plane. Inclined plane means this is an incline. I can have an inclined plane here also. Suppose I say this is a horizontal plane, and if I think that I have a matchstick over it like this, it is at rest. Now I am increasing inclination angle. The object is at rest. It's not moving. Now it begins to move on up. That angle with the horizontal at which the object or the body starts moving is known as angle of repose. Means if I say that I have made an angle like this and an object is here of mass m, done, of mass what? Mass m. Then here this angle is alpha. Suppose I am writing alpha, or let us write this as, oh yes, alpha is okay, alpha. That angle will be angle of repose if the body just begins to move, not upward, downward. Okay. So what are the forces acting? This is weight will be acting downward, mg. As a result, this one will be alpha, so it will be mg cos of alpha, done. And this side we will have mg sine of alpha. Already I have discussed this one. This is the normal reaction. talking about friction, so there must be a friction. What is the direction of friction? The friction will be in this direction. So I'm writing K. Why? Because the body just begins to move and we are reaching the kinetic friction. It's a limiting case. Limit case or not? So limit case we don't write L, we directly write Fk, so we are writing Fk. Done? So now what I am going to do, I am going to balance it. Balance it means the body just begins to move. So what will happen? R must be equals to mg cos of alpha. Similarly, Fk must be equals to mg sin of alpha. Done? Now do one thing, dividing Fk by R will be equals to what? Sin of alpha by cos of alpha. Sin alpha by cos alpha is nothing but it is tan alpha. Therefore, what is this? Already we know this is my mu k is equals to tan of. So what we can conclude? What we have concluded? We have concluded that the tangent of the angle of repose is equal to the coefficient of kinetic friction. Done? Yes, this is the kinetic friction. So already we came to know about angle of repose, angle of friction. So now have you observed that when we have discussed the angle of friction, I got the term tan of theta is equals to mu k. Done? And now I got the term tan of alpha is equals to mu k. So what can we conclude from it? We can conclude that theta will be equals to alpha. Means angle of friction and angle of repose are equal. Hope it is clear to all of you? Yes, it is. I think it is clear to all of you. So that is my angle of friction and angle of repose. Let's move to the next topic. If you have understood this, I hope you can do some sums. So let's move to another topic, that is acceleration of a body in sliding down and inclining. So next topic is acceleration of a body sliding down and inclined plane. What is that? Sliding down and inclined plane. So this is a inclined plane. So here we have a body. That means again I will draw mg will be downward. Let us consider this to be theta. So this will be my mg cos theta. Done. So this is theta. I have to draw everything. You cannot say that I will not draw this part. And this side will be my f of k. This is my normal reaction. Now the question is, the body is sliding down with a force. If it is sliding down, obviously it will have an acceleration. See, last I say that if it is sliding down, means this force must be greater than this. Otherwise it cannot slide. Now, can it slide? No, it cannot slide. So what we can say, the net force acting on body is equals to, can I write mg sin of theta minus of f of k? I think I can write. Yes, I can write. Why? Because this is the downward force, this is the upward force. What is the net force then? Net force is a subtraction of this. If it is in the same direction, then I would have added it. But since it is in the opposite direction, what I will do? I am going to subtract it. So I got the net force on the body, capital F, I am writing this. So if this is the case, can I write this as mg sin of theta is equals to, not is equals to, minus of mu k into r. I can write, I think. Yes, I can write. Moreover, I know that if I equate this, r will be equals to mg cos of theta. So what will happen to my f? What will happen to my f? My capital F will be equals to mg sin of theta minus mu k mg cos of. So this is my expression. But since it is moving down, sliding, that means by using second law, F must be equals to mass into acceleration. So I can write from here mg common, then sin theta minus mu k cos of theta. So what will happen? My acceleration will be equal to g I hope you got it. Now the next part is, if this is the acceleration and if I say that this is a polished surface. What does polished surface mean? If it is a polished surface, then there will be no friction. If there is no friction, this mu k will become what? What it will become? It will become 0. If it becomes 0, then what I can write from here? If mu k is equal to 0, then A will be equal to G sine of. So this is the expression. Okay, ma'am? Now if this is the acceleration, this is the force, I already know this. And I say that the object has no square distance from here to here. What is the distance? Distance is S. And what is the walk done? How can I write? Walk done is equal to F is already this one. Distance is S. So F I will write mg sine of theta. Mg I have taken common. Root k cos theta into this is the walk done. So that's all for today's class. Hope you have understood it. Next class I will start with the next part. Thank you.